Hello and welcome. Have you ever felt that sickening knot in your stomach when you check your bank account? Have you laid awake at 3 a.m., staring at the ceiling, overwhelmed by bills that seem to multiply faster than you can pay them? Have you ever had a dream, a big, beautiful dream for your family, only to watch it fade because there just wasn't enough money? If that's you, I want you to know something right now. You are not alone. I've been there. My journey wasn't always filled with multi-million-dollar deals and financial freedom. There were times when I felt like a slave to my circumstances, like money was a cruel master I could never please. But through decades of work with some of the most successful minds in the world, I discovered a secret. It's not about luck. It's not about where you were born. It's about a set of timeless universal laws that govern wealth, just as gravity governs the fall of an apple. Today, we are not just talking about money. We are starting a movement. We are making a declaration. This is a turning point. If you are ready to stop fighting the current and learn to navigate the river of abundance, I need you to do two simple things. First, if this message resonates with you, please hit that like button and subscribe. It's your way of telling me, yes, I'm ready to change my life. Second, I want you to go into the comments right now and type a powerful slogan, a declaration that will become your mantra. I deserve financial peace. Don't just type it. Feel it, own it. This isn't just a comment. It's your commitment to yourself. It's the first step in claiming the life you were meant to live. We have a lot to cover today. We're going to dive into the 19 universal laws of money. But first, we must begin at the beginning, with the most important law of all. Let's start with Chapter 1, the Law of the Inner Force. Chapter 1, the Law of the Inner Force. Imagine for a moment a young man I once mentored. Let's call him Alex. Alex was brilliant, a genius with code, and he worked at a major tech company. He was earning a six-figure salary, but something was wrong. Every month, the money would come in, and by the end of the month, it would be gone. He was in a constant state of anxiety, always chasing the next paycheck, feeling like he was standing on quicksand. He'd come to me and say, "I don't get it. I'm doing everything right. I have a great job. I'm working 60 hours a week. I'm trying so hard. Why isn't it enough? Why do I feel like I'm running in place?" Does that sound familiar? The feeling of giving everything you have, pouring your life force into your work, only to feel like you're going backward. Alex was making the same mistake that so many of us make. He was focused entirely on the external. He believed his worth was tied to his paycheck, his job title, or the hours he worked. He was a perfect example of what the great philosopher James Allen wrote about: the outer world of a man's life is but the reflection of his inner world. Alex's financial chaos was a direct reflection of his internal turmoil, his self-doubt, his fear, and his limiting beliefs. This brings us to the first and most powerful law, the law of the inner force. This law states that true financial success, lasting wealth, and genuine financial peace don't begin with a bank account or a business plan. They begin with a quiet, sometimes unnoticed, power deep within you. It's the spark. It's the conviction that you are capable of more. It's the raw potential that sits within your mind, waiting to be awakened. Think of it like a seed. A tiny, insignificant-looking seed holds the complete blueprint of a towering oak tree. It has everything it needs to become something magnificent, but it can't do it by itself. It needs to be planted in fertile ground, and it needs the internal drive to push through the soil, to reach for the sun. Your mind is that seed, your beliefs are the soil, and your inner force is the drive to grow. So let me ask you a question, a truly honest one. What is the conversation you're having with yourself when no one else is listening? Is it a voice of doubt? I'm not smart enough. I'm not good with money. Rich people are just lucky. Or is it a voice of power? I can figure this out. My ideas have value. I am capable of building a better life. This is the core of the inner force. We have all been conditioned to believe that wealth is a product of effort alone. But Andrew Carnegie, one of the wealthiest men in history, didn't build his empire just with hard labor. He built it with an inner conviction, a belief that he could shape his destiny. He once said, The man who acquires the ability to take full possession of his own mind may take possession of anything else to which he is justly entitled. See, your mind is not just a tool. It is the lever by which all other things are moved. If your mind is filled with thoughts of scarcity, of fear, of not enough, then no amount of external work will ever be enough. You will always find ways to sabotage yourself, to repel the very prosperity you crave. I remember another client, a woman named Sarah. She was a brilliant graphic designer, but she struggled to charge what she was worth. She would get excited about a project, but when it came time to send the invoice, she'd feel physically sick. She was so afraid of being rejected that she'd undercharge herself every single time. Her actions were a direct reflection of a limiting belief. I'm not worthy of great wealth. Do you see the pattern? To awaken this inner force, you must begin by tending to your inner garden. You must cast aside limiting beliefs that have been holding you captive. It's a disciplined process of self-awareness. It's a choice to stop letting the past dictate your future. Think about it this way. How many of you have a list of all the things you failed at? The business idea that didn't take off, the investment that went south. We hold on to these failures like badges of honor, using them to justify our fears. What if you made a new list? A list of your small victories, the time you negotiated a better deal, the time you stuck to your budget for a week, the time you took a risk, even a small one. Your inner force is resilient. It's waiting for you to feed it, to show it that you are capable, that you are worthy. When you do this, you begin to emit a different kind of energy, a magnetic quality that draws opportunities and the right circumstances toward you. You stop begging for money, and you start attracting it. This is the first most crucial step. It's the hardest, because it requires you to be brutally honest with yourself. But it is also the most liberating. So before we move on to the next law, I want you to spend some time today, perhaps tonight, and ask yourself these questions. What limiting beliefs are holding me back? What is the story I'm telling myself about money? And what is one small thing I can do today to prove that story wrong? This book, this video, is not a checklist for riches. It's a blueprint for financial self-construction. And everything we build starts from within. The journey to financial success is not a matter of serendipity. It's the deliberate outcome of an awakened mind, actively engaged in its highest ideals. It's a quiet internal promise you make to yourself. Hold on to that thought. Hold on to that feeling. Chapter 2. The Principle of Dynamic Reciprocity. Do you remember Alex from our last talk? The brilliant programmer who was stuck in a cycle of paycheck-to-paycheck living? After our conversation, he started to truly understand that his inner world was creating his outer reality. He began to believe he was worthy of more. But for a while, nothing seemed to change. The bank account still felt empty. The stress was still there. He came to me again, frustrated. He asked, I'm doing the internal work. I'm focusing my thoughts. I'm trying to be positive. So why isn't the money just showing up? This is a powerful and essential question. It's one that many people get stuck on. They read a few books on mindset. They watch a few videos, and they expect the universe to just hand them a check. But that's not how it works. That's not the full picture of the law of attraction. This is where our second law comes into play, the principle of dynamic reciprocity. This law states that the universe is a vast network of exchanges, and every purposeful act you take creates a corresponding reaction. In other words, your positive thoughts and inner beliefs are the fuel, but intelligent, purposeful action is the engine that moves you toward your goals. Think of it this way. You can have the most beautiful, healthy seed in the world, your powerful inner force, but if you never plant it, it will never grow. You can hold it in your hand and visualize a towering oak tree all day long, but until you put that seed in the soil, cover it and water it, nothing will happen. Your actions are the act of planting. The same is true for wealth. Desire without action is as inert as a dormant seed. The great business magnate, John D. Rockefeller, didn't just wish for his oil empire. He acted. He acted with precision, with strategy, and with an unshakable will. He understood that the world demands that thought be followed by action. As he famously said, I do not think there is any other quality so essential to success of any kind as the quality of perseverance. It overcomes almost everything, even nature. So let's get back to Alex. His problem was that his actions didn't match his new beliefs. He was still working the same job, in the same way, and expecting different results. He was sending out chaotic energy into the universe, and the universe was in turn giving him chaotic results. When I asked him what he was doing differently, he just shrugged. I'm thinking more positively, he said. I told him that's like a farmer who thinks about planting a crop, but never puts a single seed in the ground. The harvest is a result of the work, not just the intention. So what does intelligent action look like? It's not about being busy. It's about being effective. It's about asking yourself a different set of questions. What is one concrete step I can take today that aligns with my purpose? Is my daily work a series of random efforts, or is it a deliberate strategy? How can I move from dreaming to doing? We worked together to help Alex translate his newfound belief into tangible action. We started with small steps. Instead of just working more hours, he started to think about how he could add more value. He began to teach himself a new programming language on the side. He started to look for freelance clients after work, not for the money, but for the experience. These actions were like the stone cast into a tranquil pond. The initial splash may have been modest, but as the ripples radiated outward, they covered a far greater area than the original impact. His new skill set caught the attention of his boss. His freelance work led to a side hustle that eventually became his full-time business. It wasn't magic. It was dynamic reciprocity. He put in a new kind of energy, and the world responded by aligning circumstances, people and opportunities in a way that mirrored his intention. And here's a crucial point. This law is not blind. It rewards intelligent action. Haphazard, undirected bursts of energy will only yield chaotic results. Your efforts must be purposeful. They must be aligned with the deep inner force that you have awakened. I want you to reflect on your own life right now. Where are you putting in a lot of effort without seeing results? Are your actions truly purposeful, or are you just spinning your wheels? What is one step, just one small, intelligent, deliberate step, that you can take today to align your actions with your purpose? Remember, every single step you take is a vote for the person you want to become. It's an act of faith. It's a declaration that you are ready to engage with the world and that you believe in your capacity to shape it. So let's take a deep breath. Your inner force is awakened. Now it's time to act. It's time to put that seed in the ground. When you're ready, we'll talk about the next law, the magnetic force that draws wealth to those who align their inner vision with purposeful deeds. Chapter 3. The Law of Attraction. You know, after Alex started taking purposeful action, he began to see a shift. Small freelance jobs came in. His boss noticed his new skills. He felt a newfound sense of confidence, but there was still a missing piece. Sometimes, an opportunity would appear almost out of nowhere, an unexpected client referral, or a chance conversation that opened a door he didn't even know existed. It felt like serendipity. It felt like luck, but it wasn't. It was the third universal law in action, the law of attraction. Now, I want to be very clear about this. This isn't some mystical, magical force where you sit on your couch, think about money, and have it appear on your doorstep. That's a passive, incomplete understanding of this law. The law of attraction is a real dynamic process that channels the energy of your inner world, your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs, into tangible material returns in the outer world. Think of your mind as a finely tuned instrument. When it is filled with thoughts of scarcity and doubt, it plays a discordant off-key melody. But when you align it with a clear, confident vision of abundance, it produces a melody the universe cannot ignore. This melody, this vibration, is what pulls the right people, circumstances, and opportunities into your orbit. At its heart, the law of attraction is simple. Like attracts like. If your thoughts are mired in fear, you inadvertently repel the very prosperity you seek. Why? Because fear creates a vibration of scarcity, and the universe, and the people in it, responds to that signal. People are not drawn to uncertainty. They are drawn to confidence and conviction. I once worked with a salesman named David who was struggling. He had a great product, but he couldn't close a deal to save his life. He was always worried about rejection. He would call a prospect, and before he even said hello, his mind was already replaying a story of failure. His fear was so palpable, it hung in the air. People could feel it, even through the phone. They weren't rejecting his product. They were rejecting his vibration of doubt. Conversely, think of the most successful person you know. They have a certain energy about them, don't they? A quiet confidence, a certainty. They walk into a room, and people are drawn to them. That's not a coincidence. That's the law of attraction at work. As Jack Ma, the founder of Alibaba, once said, the very important thing you should have is patience. But he also had an unshakable belief that his company would change the world, and that belief, that inner conviction, is what attracted the capital, the talent, and the opportunities he needed to build his empire. So how do you harness this power? The law of attraction is a call to conscious creation, not passive waiting. It demands that you become aware of the quality of your thoughts and make a deliberate effort to nurture those that are in sync with your aspirations. This is the bridge between the inner force, chapter 1, and dynamic reciprocity, chapter 2. It's the how. Visualize your inevitability. Start viewing your goals not as a possibility, but as an inevitability. When you believe something is bound to happen, your actions and your energy align with that certainty. Opportunities that once seemed invisible suddenly reveal themselves because your mind is now trained to see them. Practice gratitude. Gratitude is one of the highest frequencies you can emit. It tells the universe, I already have so much, and I am ready for more. When you acknowledge the blessings you already have, however small, you reinforce the belief that you live in a world of abundance, not scarcity. Become open to receiving. This is a big one. Many of us are so focused on the struggle that we fail to see the subtle nudges the universe gives us. A chance encounter, an insightful conversation, or a fleeting idea might be the very opportunity you've been asking for. But if you're too busy being mired in doubt, you'll miss it. This is what happened with David, the salesman. We started a practice where before every call, he would spend 60 seconds simply visualizing a successful, confident conversation. He wasn't just thinking of the sale. He was feeling the energy of a positive interaction. He was creating the mental environment for success. Soon his conversion rate skyrocketed. His actions didn't change as much as the energy behind them did. Remember, the law of attraction is a self-reinforcing cycle. As you observe the tangible results of your focused thoughts and actions, your confidence grows. This success, in turn, acts as a catalyst, further strengthening the magnetic pull of your desires. So let me ask you this. What is the emotional state you are currently vibrating at when it comes to money? Is it fear, or is it gratitude? And what is one small deliberate action you can take to shift that energy today? Financial success isn't just a byproduct of hard work. It's the deliberate outcome of a mind that has been awakened and is now a magnet for all that it desires. Chapter 4. The Power of Definite Purpose. Imagine a boat sailing on the open sea without a destination. The winds might be strong, the sun might be shining, but with no map or clear port in mind, the boat will just drift. It might move quickly for a time, but it will never arrive anywhere. It will expend a tremendous amount of energy, only to end up right back where it started, or worse, lost in the vast, unforgiving ocean. This is the exact fate of a person pursuing financial success without a definite purpose. Do you ever feel like that drifting boat? You're working hard, you're putting in the hours, you're trying a little bit of everything, but at the end of the day, you're not any closer to your goal. You're exhausted from the journey, but you're not moving forward in a meaningful way. This is the common pitfall we see everywhere. It's the entrepreneur with a dozen half-finished ideas. It's the investor who chases every new trend. It's the employee who jumps from job to job, hoping for a magic solution. This brings us to our fourth universal law, the power of definite purpose. This law states that every great achievement begins with a vision, a clear, unwavering purpose that acts as the magnet for all your actions and a lighthouse for all your decisions. Without it, even the most persistent efforts can scatter into the winds, dissipating your energy and diluting your potential. A definite purpose is more than just a vague desire to be rich. It's a focused conviction that crystallizes your aspirations into a tangible, actionable direction. It's the process of setting aside the multitude of distractions and anchoring yourself to one clear objective. The famous author, Napoleon Hill, spent a lifetime studying the most successful people in the world, from Andrew Carnegie to Henry Ford. His number one finding, the one principle he said was most critical for success, was definiteness of purpose. He wrote, "The man who succeeds in anything must have a definite purpose. He must have a burning desire to achieve that purpose, and he must be willing to make sacrifices to get it." This isn't about daydreaming. This is a call to action. Let's go back to Alex. When he was just trying to be positive, he was still a drifting boat. When we worked on his intelligent action, it was still a series of unconnected efforts. It wasn't until we sat down and defined his purpose that everything changed. We asked him three profound questions. What is the one thing you can do better than anyone else? What unique contribution are you meant to make? What does true financial freedom look like for you? Specifically, is it $100,000 in savings? Is it a passive income of $5,000 per month? Alex's answer was simple. I want to use my coding skills to help small businesses thrive, and I want to build enough passive income to travel for 6 months a year without worrying. That was his lighthouse. That was his purpose. Suddenly, every decision became clear. When a company offered him a high-paying job in a field he wasn't passionate about, he said no. When a friend asked him to invest in a quick profit scheme, he passed. He started focusing his freelance work on one type of client. He began studying passive income strategies with laser focus. His purpose became a filter. Every potential action was filtered through the lens of, does this move me closer to my goal of helping small businesses and traveling? This is the power of a definite purpose. It compels action. When your purpose is firmly defined, you transform abstract dreams into concrete plans. The seemingly disparate activities of daily life, a late night of work, a skipped social event, begin to converge into a unified strategy. You stop seeing obstacles and start seeing lessons that sharpen your focus rather than sap your will. It gives you resilience. When you hit a setback, and you will hit setbacks, your purpose is the constant that remains. It's the foundation that prevents you from being swept away by the ever-changing tide of the market. You're not driven by external forces, you're driven by an internal compass. So I want you to ask yourself, if you were to write a headline for your financial life, what would it say? What is your unique contribution to the world that you can monetize? What is one single clear financial goal that would change everything for you? Don't let your ambitions become scattered winds. Don't be the drifting boat. It's time to choose a destination, to chart a course, and to build a life on purpose. This is the moment to transform your scattered ambitions into a coherent strategy. Chapter 5. The Unyielding Power of Will. If Chapter 4 gave you a map and a destination, Chapter 5 gives you the engine to get there. Do you remember our friend Alex? He now had a definite purpose to build a passive income stream through his coding skills. He had the inner force, the mental conviction that he could do it. He was taking intelligent action by learning new skills and focusing his efforts. He even started to feel the law of attraction at work as opportunities found him. But then, a client project went sideways. A major deadline was missed. He lost a potential client, and a wave of self-doubt and exhaustion washed over him. The old voices came back. You're not good enough. You should just give up. The dream of traveling for 6 months felt like a distant, impossible fantasy. Does this feel familiar? The moment when your initial momentum gives way to the soul-crushing reality of a setback. It's in these moments that most people give up. They believe they've hit a dead end, when in reality, they've just reached the true test of their resolve. This is where the fifth universal law comes in. The unyielding power of will. Will is not a whim. It's not fleeting desire. It is the determined resolve to act in accordance with your highest aspirations, regardless of the obstacles that arise. It's the engine that transforms your purpose into tangible achievement, propelling you forward even when the terrain becomes treacherous. Think of a river carving its way through solid rock. It's not the river's volume alone that shapes the landscape, but its persistent drive and determination to find a way forward. Similarly, the force of your will works quietly yet persistently, overcoming barriers and reorienting setbacks into opportunities for growth. Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, often talks about the importance of mental fortitude. He says, "The number one reason people fail in the real world is because they quit. The difference between those who succeed and those who fail is often not intelligence or luck, but sheer unyielding will." So, how do you cultivate this unyielding power? First, you must understand that the modern world is designed to weaken your resolve. We live in an era of instant gratification. The allure of a temporary comfort, scrolling on your phone, watching TV, or procrastinating, is a constant lure against your long-term goals. The power of will is about resisting that lure. It requires a disciplined mind that can silence the doubts and fears that inevitably arise. It's about saying no to the distractions of today in favor of the dreams of tomorrow. Let's go back to Alex. When he was facing his setback, he had a choice. He could have retreated into old habits, blamed the client and quit. Instead, he remembered his purpose. He remembered the feeling of writing "I deserve financial peace" in the comments. He made a conscious decision to not let this one failure define him. He took a day to be angry and frustrated, but on the next day he got back to work. He analyzed what went wrong, learned from the mistake, and reached out to new clients. He used the failure as a stepping stone. Every time you choose to persist through a setback, you fortify your will. Every decision you make, every action you take, must be a testament to your determination to succeed. The true measure of will is not how you start, but how you persist when circumstances test your resolve. So, I want you to reflect on this. Think about a time when you almost quit. What was that moment? What pulled you back from the brink? What is the one thing you know you should be doing, but you're not, because it's hard? Remember, self-mastery is an ongoing journey. Every small victory builds your confidence, and every trial strengthens your resolve. This is the crucible of effort, where you learn to trust your own capacity to overcome anything. Your will is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. When your mind is fortified by this confidence, it rejects the notion of scarcity and embraces the abundance that is your rightful inheritance. It's time to build that muscle. Chapter 6. Confidence and belief in one's own abilities. In the journey to financial triumph, many people believe that confidence is something you get after you succeed. They think, once I make my first $1 million, then I'll be confident, but this is a fundamental misunderstanding of how wealth is created. Confidence isn't a byproduct of success. It is the very foundation upon which success is built. Think about a time you tried something new. Maybe it was a new hobby, a different route to work, or a new approach to a problem. Did you succeed on the first try? Probably not. You stumbled, you felt awkward, and you probably felt a flicker of doubt. Now imagine if you gave up right there. Most people do. They see a single failure as proof that they can't do it. This is where the sixth universal law comes into play: confidence and belief in one's own abilities. This law states that when you truly believe in yourself, you don't wait for fortune to knock on your door. Instead, you become its master, attracting the opportunities and resources necessary for prosperity. Confidence is that inner light which dispels the shadows of doubt and fear, allowing you to stride boldly in the direction of your dreams. I want you to think about this in a very practical way. Have you ever tried to sell something, an idea, a product or a service that you didn't truly believe in? Your words may have been perfect, your pitch well rehearsed, but the other person could feel your lack of conviction. That's because genuine confidence isn't something you can fake. It's a vibration. Robert Kiyosaki often talks about this. He says that the reason many people struggle is because they lack the confidence to take risks. They allow the fear of failure to paralyze them. And guess what? Their fears are realized not because of the external market, but because their internal lack of belief prevents them from taking the action necessary to succeed. As he says, the best way to build confidence is to do what you are afraid of. So how do you cultivate this unshakable confidence? Silence the internal critic. We all have that voice inside us that whispers, "You're not good enough. Who do you think you are? Or you're going to fail." This is the voice of doubt, and it is the true barrier to success. To break free from this cycle, you must first recognize that this voice is not you. It's a bad habit of the mind. You can't just ignore it. You have to actively challenge it. When it says you're going to fail, ask why. What evidence do I have of that? Then replace it with a constructive thought. I am going to learn from this experience. Embrace small victories. Confidence is not something that appears overnight. It's built through experience, through the repeated affirmation of your skills. I always advise my clients to keep a victory journal. Every day write down 3 small wins. Maybe you made that difficult phone call, stuck to your budget, or learned a new concept. Each small victory, no matter how minor it may seem, reinforces the belief that you are capable of more than you ever imagined. With every obstacle you overcome, the foundations of your self-confidence are strengthened. View setbacks as lessons. When you truly believe in your abilities, setbacks are not failures, but lessons. They are a recalibration of your strategies that further builds your resilience. The greatest entrepreneurs, from Jack Ma to Steve Jobs, didn't succeed on their first try. They failed, and failed spectacularly, but they used those failures as data, as opportunities to refine their approach. They had the confidence to know that a temporary loss did not define their ultimate potential. Confidence is a declaration of independence. It's the recognition that the power to shape your destiny lies in your own hands. When you trust your own judgment, you no longer wait for validation from external sources. So I want you to ask yourself, what is the one thing you are afraid to do right now? Not because it's risky, but because you lack confidence. And what is one small victory you can create for yourself today to begin building that confidence? The journey to financial success is one of continuous growth. It demands that you trust in the strength of your ideas and the validity of your methods. When you do that, your self-assurance shines as the guiding light on your journey. Chapter 7. Expectancy and Persistency. Think about a time you waited for something you truly believed would happen. Maybe it was a package you ordered, a friend you were meeting, or a job offer you were confident you'd get. There's an almost tangible feeling that precedes the event. A quiet certainty that what is sought will eventually manifest. This is not mere idle optimism. It is expectancy. In the pursuit of financial success, this feeling is a superpower. It allows you to see beyond your present circumstances, to understand that the challenges you face are temporary. It's the belief that even in moments of trial, the seeds of success are being sown. This brings us to the 7th universal law, which is actually a dynamic duo: expectancy and persistency. Expectancy is the deep-seated belief that your actions will yield a reward. Persistency is the relentless continuation of purpose, despite setbacks or delays. They are inseparable, each one fueling the other. A person with a mindset of expectancy doesn't just hope for a good outcome, they anticipate it. They know that every effort, however modest, contributes to the vast reservoir of eventual triumph. This belief is what separates dreamers from doers. I once worked with a client named Maria who wanted to start her own business selling handmade goods online. Her first few months were a struggle. She made very few sales, and the endless hours of work felt pointless. She was close to quitting. I asked her, "Do you truly expect this to work, or are you just trying it out?" She admitted that she was just trying. Her expectation was that it would probably fail. The moment she shifted her mindset, everything changed. We developed a new strategy, but the most important thing she did was change her belief. She started telling herself, "I am building a profitable business. It's not a matter of if, but when." This simple shift in expectancy was the catalyst. It transformed the grind into a focused mission. This new mindset led directly to persistency. When a new product didn't sell well, she didn't see it as a failure. She saw it as data. Okay, she thought, that didn't work. What can I learn from it? She adjusted her approach, refined her product and kept going. Her expectancy fueled her persistence, and her persistence in turn solidified her expectancy. As Calvin Coolidge, a man known for his quiet resolve, once said, "Nothing in this world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent." Think about that. It's not talent, not genius, not education alone, but persistence that is all-powerful. So, how do you cultivate this powerful combination? Stop glorifying the struggle. Many people believe that struggle is a sign that they're on the right path. It can be, but often it's a sign of misdirected effort. Instead of focusing on how hard things are, focus on the belief that a solution is just around the corner. Expectancy allows you to see that every obstacle is simply a challenge to be met with renewed vigor, not a signal to stop. Make a plan for the inevitable setback. You will face setbacks. Expect them. A persistent individual knows this, and has a plan for what to do when they occur. They don't falter at the first sign of adversity. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" they ask, "What is this teaching me?" Find your daily momentum. Persistency is not a one-time heroic act. It's a series of deliberate small actions taken day after day. It's the quiet strength in steady effort. Cultivate habits that reinforce your belief in eventual success. Each daily action is a vote for your future self, building blocks that lead to success. The law of expectancy and persistency teaches you that every moment of diligent action reinforces the natural order. Every determined step forward adds momentum to the accumulation of wealth. So, I want you to ask yourself, do you truly expect to succeed, or are you just trying? And what is one action you can take today to prove your commitment to persist, no matter what? Your actions become a series of deliberate, well-calculated moves that steadily close the distance between your current state and your desired future. This interconnected cycle of expectant action and unwavering persistence does more than just produce material gain. It cultivates a mindset that sees every challenge as an opportunity. Chapter 8. The Role of a Constructive Mental Attitude. Imagine two people facing the exact same financial setback: a stock market dip, a lost client, a business idea that didn't take off. One person sees it as a sign of defeat. They say, "This always happens to me. I'm just not lucky with money." They fall into despair, and their energy is drained. They stop looking for solutions and give up. The other person sees the same event as a challenge. They say, "Okay, what can I learn from this? How can I pivot? What opportunity does this create?" They get back to work, armed with new knowledge and a renewed sense of purpose. The difference isn't in their circumstances. It's in their mental attitude. This brings us to our 8th universal law, the role of a constructive mental attitude. Your mind is the silent architect of your financial achievement. It is the underlying framework upon which all your acts of will, expectation, and persistence are built. As the great philosopher James Allen so profoundly stated, "The outer world of a man's life is but the reflection of his inner world." Your mindset is not a fleeting state. It's a constant force that influences every decision and every encounter. It's the fertile soil where your ideas either take root and flourish, or wither and die. So how do you cultivate this constructive mindset? First, you must understand that a positive attitude is not a naive act of ignoring reality. It's an act of courage. It's the conscious decision to choose a productive thought over a destructive one, even when it's difficult. I had a client, a small business owner, who was convinced his business was failing because of the economy. He blamed external factors, which gave him a sense of powerlessness. "What's the point of trying?" he'd say. "It's all out of my control." This attitude was a shield, protecting him from having to take responsibility for his own shortcomings. We worked on a simple but profound exercise. For 1 week, every time he caught himself blaming an external factor, he had to stop and ask himself, what can I learn from this? What is one action I can take right now to improve the situation? The moment he started asking different questions, his attitude began to change. When a supplier's price went up, he saw it not as a betrayal, but as a prompt to find a new, better supplier. When a competitor gained an advantage, he saw it as an opportunity to innovate his own product. This is the key. A constructive mental attitude transforms setbacks into stepping stones. It allows you to see the inherent value in every experience, to view challenges as opportunities for growth and reinvention. As John D. Rockefeller understood, I always tried to turn every disaster into an opportunity. He didn't see market downturns as moments of loss, but as moments to acquire assets at a discount. He had a mind trained for opportunity, not for fear. Cultivating this mindset requires self-discipline. It means actively countering negative influences, both the doubts from within and the cynics from without. You create a mental fortress where negative thoughts are kept at bay, and only constructive forward-driving ideas are allowed passage. This ongoing process of mental renewal keeps your system running smoothly, ready to convert potential energy into kinetic achievement. So I want you to ask yourself, what is the story you are telling yourself about your financial situation right now? Is it one of blame, or is it one of opportunity? And what is one question you can ask yourself today to shift that narrative from a negative one to a constructive one? Remember, this dynamic attitude not only affects your personal endeavors, but also influences those around you. A person with a constructive mental attitude exudes an energy that inspires and galvanizes others. It's magnetic, drawing collaborators, mentors and opportunities toward you, aligning external circumstances with your internal vision. Chapter 9. Intelligent Action in the Pursuit of Wealth. We've talked about the inner force, the law of reciprocity, and your mental attitude. You have the raw materials and the right mindset. But what happens if you have all the ingredients for a cake, but never turn on the oven? Nothing. This is where many people get stuck. They believe that thinking positively and having a clear purpose are enough. But ideas and principles remain dormant unless activated by deliberate, focused effort. This brings us to the 9th universal law, intelligent action. Intelligent action is the bridge that spans the gap between thought and achievement. It's not enough to simply be busy. As the great financial mind Benjamin Graham taught, you must act wisely. He spent his career showing that success in investing wasn't about luck or speculation, but about rigorous analysis and deliberate, well-researched action. He was the master of intelligent action. He knew that random or hasty actions, no matter how energetic, lead to scattered results and wasted opportunities. So what does this look like in your life? It's the conscious selection of tasks that directly contribute to your financial goals. For instance, imagine you want to start a side business. Unintelligent action. You spend hours every day posting on social media, but you never research your market, create a business plan, or speak to a single potential customer. You're busy, but your efforts are not strategic. Intelligent action. You spend a small amount of time researching your market, identifying a need, and then dedicating a specific number of hours each week to building a single tangible product or service. Every step is calculated and purposeful. Intelligent action is therefore an exercise in self-mastery. It's about knowing when to act, how to act, and just as importantly, when to hold back. It's the ability to discern which efforts yield the most significant returns and the courage to focus on those pursuits relentlessly. I remember a client named Mark, a graphic designer who was a whirlwind of activity. He was always working on something, but his finances were a mess because he was taking every low-paying job that came his way, leaving him no time for the high-value creative projects he truly wanted. We implemented a new strategy based on intelligent action. He started saying no to the small, distracting jobs and dedicated that time to refining his portfolio and networking with high-end clients. He wasn't working more, he was working smarter. He was directing his efforts with precision, ensuring every move was a step toward his ultimate aspirations. The essence of intelligent action is to move from reacting to creating. Instead of just responding to what comes your way, you proactively choose your next step. You analyze your situation, assess your resources, and determine the most effective strategy to achieve your goals. This process involves both critical thinking and creative problem-solving, a fusion of the analytical and the imaginative. It also requires a keen sense of timely execution. There's an opportune moment for every venture. To wait too long or to act prematurely is to risk the erosion of a delicate balance. A person who masters intelligent action is one who remains vigilant and ready to seize the moment when it arises. This readiness is not a passive state, it's the result of continual preparation and a deep commitment to your goals. So I want you to ask yourself, are you simply busy or are you truly productive? What one task could you focus on this week that would have the biggest impact on your financial goals? How can you move from scattered efforts to a focused, deliberate strategy? Remember, the seed of every effect lies in a deliberate cause. Your road to financial success is not paved by chance, but by thoughtful, determined effort. Each carefully chosen step builds upon the last, creating an unbroken chain that leads inexorably toward the manifestation of your dreams. Chapter 10. Opening the Way for Abundance. We've now covered the internal framework of financial success, your mindset, your purpose, your will. But what happens when you've built all these internal forces, and yet you still feel stuck? It's like having a powerful engine with nowhere to go. You have all this energy, but no clear road to drive on. This is the common point of frustration for so many. They've done the inner work, but the external results aren't materializing. This brings us to our 10th universal law, opening the way for abundance. This law shifts the focus from building internal power to actively creating external channels through which prosperity can flow. It's an assertive, creative act of removing obstacles and constructing corridors that invite wealth. It's the process of transforming your environment to match your intention. Think of it like a stream. A stream has a powerful potential to nourish the land, but if it's blocked by fallen branches and debris, its full force is restricted. Similarly, your ideas, willpower, and persistent efforts are potent sources of energy that require a clear, unobstructed path to translate into wealth. To open the way is to actively dismantle the barriers that restrict this flow. So what are these barriers? They're often not what you think. They're not just a lack of money. They can be outdated strategies, holding on to business models or investment ideas that no longer work. Limiting habits, procrastination, disorganization, or a lack of self-care that drains your energy. Negative relationships, surrounding yourself with people who don't support your goals and drain your ambition. I remember a client, a young entrepreneur named Sarah. She was brilliant and had a clear purpose, but she was stuck. She had a great product idea but hadn't been able to secure any funding. She was doing everything right on paper, but nothing was happening. When we sat down, I discovered that her social circle was full of people who were constantly complaining about the economy. They were subtly, but consistently, reinforcing a mindset of scarcity. Sarah was trying to build a business in a sea of negative energy. Her intelligent action became a matter of opening the way. She began to intentionally spend less time with those who drained her and more time with people who were actively building and creating. This wasn't about cutting off friends, but about consciously creating new channels for positive energy. Within weeks, she met a mentor who introduced her to a key investor, and everything began to flow. This act of opening the way is a strategic process that requires mindful assessment. You have to look at your environment, your network and your resources, and ask yourself, what is hindering the free movement of my energy? Recognizing these obstacles is the first step toward dismantling them. Once these obstacles are identified, the process becomes an exercise in strategic planning. You must determine the most effective route for your efforts to reach their intended destination. This might involve setting intermediate objectives, breaking down your big vision into smaller manageable milestones, embracing change, being willing to depart from the status quo to build new bridges where old ones have crumbled. Seeking assistance, recognizing that you don't have to clear the path alone. Mentors, collaborators, and trusted friends can offer new perspectives and solutions. The power of this law is that it is a continuous process. As new challenges emerge, the channels you've built must be maintained and occasionally expanded. This demands a persistent vigilance and a commitment to regularly review your progress. So I want you to ask yourself, what is one obstacle in your life? A limiting habit, a toxic relationship, an outdated strategy that you can remove today to create a clearer path for abundance. Remember, your purpose and will are the power of the water, but opening the way is what gives the water a clear riverbed to flow through. Embrace this act, and every decision you make will contribute to a greater flow of abundance and opportunity. Chapter 11. The Principle of Value and Merit. Do you remember our discussion on the law of attraction and how like attracts like? Well, this next principle is its practical, real-world application. It's the answer to the question, what am I actually sending out into the world to attract wealth? This brings us to the 11th universal law, the principle of value and merit. This law states that wealth is not a byproduct of effort alone. It is the direct consequence of the value you create and the merit of your endeavors. When you provide genuine worth in every act and transaction, you establish a foundation upon which enduring wealth is built. Think about it this way. Money is simply an exchange of value. You give something of value, a product, a service, a solution, and in return you receive money. The more value you provide, the more money you have the potential to receive. I want you to reflect on this for a moment. Are you just going through the motions at your job or in your business? Are you just showing up and doing the bare minimum? Or are you actively seeking to add more value in every interaction? This is a profound shift in thinking. It moves you from a mindset of what can I get to what can I give. Let's consider a practical example. Imagine two freelance writers. Writer A simply delivers the work the client asked for. They don't research beyond the basics. They don't offer any extra insights, and they never go the extra mile. They are transactional. Writer B not only delivers the work, but also provides a list of keywords the client should be using, a few suggestions for future content, and a simple, clear layout. They are offering genuine value. Which writer do you think the client will be more likely to hire again? Which one will be able to charge more? Writer B, of course. Their merit, or the recognition of their work's value, becomes a self-reinforcing cycle. The creation of value begins in the realm of thought. It's born from a willingness to invest in self-improvement and continuous learning. As Warren Buffett says, the most important investment you can make is in yourself. When you refine your skills, deepen your understanding, and enhance your own capacities, you raise the quality of the contributions you can offer. You transform mere labor into a meaningful expression of talent and passion. Merit, on the other hand, is the recognition of that value by the broader world. It isn't automatically granted. It is earned through persistent, intelligent action and a steadfast commitment to excellence. Every effort you make must be geared toward demonstrating the worth of your ideas and the quality of your execution. So how do you apply this? Assess your strengths and weaknesses. Honestly evaluate what you're good at and what you need to improve. Align your efforts with your true potential, and don't be afraid to seek feedback. Focus on solutions, not just tasks. In every situation, ask yourself, how can I solve a problem for someone? When you become a problem solver, you become indispensable. Innovate continuously. The value you provide today may not be enough tomorrow. The landscape is always changing. Embracing change and remaining adaptable are crucial elements of maintaining and enhancing the merit of your work. Remember, every effort you make has the potential to alter your financial destiny. When you act with a focus on value and merit, you're not just participating in the marketplace of ideas, you are shaping it. You're building a reputation for excellence, which is a powerful currency in itself. So I want you to ask yourself, how can you add more value to your work today? What is one thing you can learn or one skill you can hone to increase your merit in the world? Chapter 12. The Art of Capital Investment. You've cultivated your inner force, taken intelligent action, and created value in the world. Now, as the money begins to flow, you're faced with a critical question. What do you do with it? Many people see money as an end in itself, a static resource to be accumulated and hoarded. But this is a mistake. Money, in its truest form, is a dynamic tool. It's a vital resource that, when employed with wisdom, multiplies the forces of your inner drive. This brings us to our 12th universal law, the art of capital investment. This is more than just buying stocks or real estate. It's the deliberate placement of your resources into ventures that not only yield financial returns, but also amplify your capacity for future achievement. It's an art form that calls for both analytical precision and creative vision. It's the fusion of intellect and instinct that transforms modest beginnings into a flourishing reservoir of wealth. Think of yourself as a skilled gardener. A wise gardener doesn't just harvest a crop and then let the field lie fallow. Instead, they save a portion of the harvest to plant new seeds, knowing that this investment will yield an even greater harvest in the future. In the same way, the investor must evaluate opportunities with a discerning eye, ensuring that each investment aligns with both your immediate needs and your long-term vision. The process of investing demands an honest appraisal of both risk and reward. Every venture carries a certain degree of uncertainty, but within this uncertainty lies the opportunity to harness the law of cause and effect. Each deliberate allocation of capital is a cause, setting in motion a series of actions that, if properly managed, will yield the desired effect. Intelligent investment is therefore not a gamble based on chance, but a calculated, persistent effort to channel your resources where they will generate the greatest impact. So how do you practice this art? Diversify your portfolio. Just as a sculptor creates a multifaceted work of art from a single block of stone, you must spread your capital across a range of endeavors. This is the cornerstone of risk management. Diversification allows you to benefit from the dynamic interplay of different industries, markets, and strategies, and it ensures that the failure or fluctuation of one investment does not compromise the whole. Invest with a focus on value and merit. It's not enough to invest simply because capital is available. You must invest in ventures that offer genuine worth and a clear path to expansion. Every investment should be evaluated on its potential to contribute to your broader objectives. Seek opportunities where innovation meets practicality, where the project reflects not only sound economic fundamentals, but also resonates with your own inner strengths and ambitions. Embrace continuous learning. The world of finance is ever evolving. Staying abreast of new trends, technologies, and market dynamics is essential to making informed decisions. This ongoing education fortifies your ability to discern between fleeting opportunities and those that promise sustainable growth. As Warren Buffett's partner Charlie Munger said, "Go to bed smarter than when you woke up." Practice patience and persistence. Wealth, like a well-tended garden, does not flourish overnight. It requires time to mature, a series of carefully measured steps, and the constant recalibration of your strategies. As you invest, remain vigilant and responsive. Monitor the progress of your ventures, adjust your course when necessary, and never lose sight of the overarching goal. The careful orchestration of these elements, disciplined analysis, creative diversification, continuous learning, and persistent patience, creates a powerful synergy. This synergy transforms your capital from a static resource into an active multiplying force. So I want you to ask yourself, what is one asset, a skill, a sum of money, or a piece of property that you can strategically invest in today to create a future return? Chapter 13. The Strategy of Financial Autonomy. As you progress on your journey, earning money and investing it wisely, a profound shift begins to take place. You move from being dependent on a single paycheck or a fluctuating market to a state where your prosperity flows primarily from your own efforts. This is not just about being rich, it's about being free. This brings us to the 13th universal law, the strategy of financial autonomy. Financial autonomy is the realization of one's self-reliance in the realm of wealth. It's a state where external dependencies diminish as the fruits of your labor and insight become the primary source of your prosperity. This is a different kind of wealth. It's a powerful, liberating state where your income is no longer dictated by a boss, a single client, or a job title. It's a state where your financial destiny is fully in your hands. Think of an independent artisan who crafts his own tools and designs his own methods of production. He is not subject to the whims of a factory or the dictates of a mass-market buyer. His livelihood is a direct result of his skill, his creativity, and his self-discipline. In the same way, achieving financial autonomy requires constructing a personal financial framework that is resilient against unpredictable fluctuations and the often oppressive conditions imposed by external systems. So how do you build this framework? Self-investment as the foundation. True autonomy doesn't come from passively waiting for fortune to favor you. It comes from actively harnessing your resources, be they mental, physical, or financial, to create an environment where success is not just an aspiration, but an inevitable outcome. Invest in your education, refine your skill sets, cultivate a network of relationships that both challenge and support your progress. The more valuable you become to yourself, the less dependent you are on anyone else. The development of diverse income streams, relying on a single source of revenue, can leave you vulnerable. A company can downsize, an industry can shift, or a single client can leave. Instead, look to create a portfolio of ventures, each designed to contribute its own steady flow of resources. Whether through entrepreneurial pursuits, strategic partnerships, or innovative investment opportunities, diversify your approaches to wealth so that the failure or fluctuation of one channel does not compromise the whole. This is your shield. The mindset of continuous improvement. Financial autonomy demands that you remain vigilant in seeking ways to enhance the effectiveness of your strategies. This involves a candid assessment of both successes and setbacks, where each experience serves as a teacher. Adaptability is not merely a reaction to change, but a proactive effort to refine your method. Regularly re-evaluate your goals and the means by which you pursue them. As Andrew Carnegie understood, lasting success comes from constant innovation and an unceasing effort to improve. A keen awareness of timing and opportunity. The independent individual remains alert to market shifts, emerging technologies, and new perspectives that illuminate previously unseen paths. This sensitivity to the rhythm of change not only maximizes potential gains, but also mitigates risks. When you are financially autonomous, you are prepared to pivot or expand your operations as the landscape evolves. You become the master of your financial domain. The process of achieving autonomy is in essence a disciplined march towards self-mastery. It requires a harmonious blend of analytical insight and creative daring, a willingness to explore uncharted territories while staying rooted in the practical realities of the economic world. So I want you to ask yourself, where are you most dependent on external forces for your income? And what is one action you can take this week to begin building a more independent, resilient financial future? Remember, your achievements are not dictated by circumstance, but by the deliberate and intelligent choices you make every day. When you align your personal ambitions with a robust, self-sustaining strategy, you create a model of success that is both self-affirming and expansively generative. Chapter 14. Navigating Risk and Opportunity. Think about a time you had to make a big decision, a new job, a major purchase, or starting a project. In that moment, did you feel a knot of anxiety in your stomach? That feeling is your recognition of risk. Most people see risk as a negative force, something to be avoided at all costs. They believe the path to financial security is a straight, safe line. But here's a truth that separates the truly successful from everyone else. The path to wealth is rarely, if ever, free of uncertainty. Risk and opportunity are not adversaries. They are inseparable companions, two facets of the same coin. The secret to financial success isn't avoiding risk, but learning to navigate it with wisdom and courage. This brings us to our 14th universal law, navigating risk and opportunity. This law states that the willingness to step into the unknown, armed with purpose and preparation, is the single most powerful tool for growth. Opportunity often hides behind the veil of uncertainty. It's the potential that lies dormant until a calculated risk is taken. Every significant breakthrough in the history of enterprise has emerged from a moment when someone chose to invest in the uncharted, to see beyond the immediate hazards, and to believe in a better, more abundant future. I want you to think about the great investors, like Warren Buffett. He isn't a reckless gambler. He takes what he calls calculated risks. His entire philosophy is built on understanding a company's true value and then buying when others are paralyzed by fear. He sees a market dip, not as a sign of danger, but as a sale on good companies. His wisdom lies in his ability to evaluate risk with a clear mind, weighing its dangers against the rewards it might bring. So how do you learn to navigate this dynamic? Don't run from risk, evaluate it. Before engaging in any venture, one must gather all available information, analyze trends, and consider the potential outcomes with a rational mind. This preparatory work forms the bedrock of decision-making, transforming uncertainty into calculated opportunity. Remember, intelligent risk-taking is not a reckless leap into chaos. It is a disciplined exercise in strategic planning. Embrace diversification as a safeguard. As we discussed in a previous chapter, spreading your investments across various ventures and industries shields you from the volatility inherent in any single endeavor. Diversification isn't just about protection, it's about capturing multiple streams of opportunity, each with its own set of challenges and rewards. It's the recognition that you can't control everything, but you can control your exposure. Learn from every venture. The willingness to embrace risk opens the door to innovation. In every trial, whether it's a success or a setback, there is valuable knowledge to be gained. Each experience sharpens your ability to assess future risks and to identify opportunities that others might overlook. This accumulation of insights creates a self-reinforcing cycle, where every venture contributes to a growing reservoir of expertise and confidence. Master the timing. Risk and opportunity are intimately tied to timing. The market's ebb and flow dictate that the window for advantageous action is often fleeting. Recognizing the right moment to act requires both vigilance and the ability to act swiftly. This is why staying informed and agile is so crucial. As external conditions shift, so too must your strategies. The journey to financial success is not about finding a smooth, risk-free road. It's about building the courage to walk a path filled with uncertainty and the wisdom to transform every challenge into a stepping stone. So I want you to ask yourself, what is one risk you've been avoiding out of fear? And what is one piece of information you can seek out today to better understand that risk and potentially turn it into an opportunity? Chapter 15. The dynamic cycle of reinvestment. You've faced risk, seized opportunities, and successfully generated a return on your efforts. Now you have a critical choice to make. You can either spend that money, or you can use it to create more wealth. The path you choose here is what separates a one-time success story from a legacy of lasting prosperity. This brings us to our 15th universal law, the dynamic cycle of reinvestment. Reinvestment is the vital process by which every earned dollar becomes a seed for future wealth. It is the art of taking the fruits of your labor and channeling them back into ventures that multiply your resources. In the realm of financial success, reinvestment is not simply a matter of saving or accumulating capital. It is a strategic, continuous process that transforms short-term gains into lasting prosperity. Think of it like a careful gardener. A wise gardener doesn't harvest the entire crop and sell it all. Instead, a portion is always set aside as seed for the next cycle. In financial terms, reinvestment is that act of allocating a part of your earnings into new opportunities that ensure the exponential growth of your capital base. This dynamic cycle requires not only discipline and foresight, but also a willingness to adapt to evolving circumstances. So how do you put this into practice? Analyze and learn. Before you reinvest, you must first analyze the outcomes of your previous endeavors. The lessons learned from both successes and setbacks are invaluable in refining your future strategies. You must understand which investments have yielded positive returns and which have taught you critical lessons about market behavior and risk management. Through thoughtful reflection, you calibrate your approach, ensuring that every reinvested dollar is directed toward ventures that align with your overarching financial goals. Focus on growth, not just preservation. The cycle of reinvestment is driven by a dual focus, preserving your capital while simultaneously seeking growth. On one hand, it demands that you safeguard the assets you have worked so hard to accumulate. On the other, it calls for the boldness to venture into new areas that promise greater returns. This balance is achieved by diversifying your investments, allocating resources across various opportunities such as new business ventures, innovative technologies, or established markets that continue to expand. Monitor the environment. Financial markets are in a state of perpetual flux. To make reinvestment decisions that are both timely and effective, you must remain alert to these changes. This vigilance allows you to identify emerging opportunities before they become widely recognized and to reallocate your resources in anticipation of shifts in market dynamics. In doing so, you transform each phase of reinvestment into a proactive rather than reactive maneuver. Embrace flexibility. As new ventures arise and conditions change, your initial plans may need to be revised. Intelligent reinvestment involves regularly assessing the performance of your investments and being prepared to pivot when necessary. This dynamic approach ensures that your financial strategy remains robust and responsive. The continuous cycle of reinvestment becomes a powerful engine that propels you toward increasingly significant financial milestones. Each cycle builds upon the last, compounding your efforts and amplifying your returns. As Warren Buffett once said, "Our favorite holding period is forever." This mindset is rooted in the belief that every return is an opportunity to fuel the next wave of growth. So I want you to ask yourself, when you get your next paycheck or financial gain, what percentage of it will you consciously and strategically set aside for reinvestment? And what is one new venture or skill you can invest in to begin this powerful cycle? Remember, the essence of success is captured in the ability to see every return as both a reward and an opportunity, a chance to reinvigorate your financial endeavors with fresh energy and a renewed strategic focus. Chapter 16. Innovation and Adaptation. In a world that's always in flux, the strategies that brought you success today might be obsolete tomorrow. The financial landscape is a living, breathing thing, and those who stand still are destined to be left behind. This brings us to our 16th universal law, innovation and adaptation. This law states that while the fundamental principles of wealth remain timeless, the methods for achieving prosperity must be continuously refined. Innovation isn't just a flash of genius, it's the deliberate act of questioning the status quo and exploring new approaches. Adaptation is the practical expression of that innovation, the willingness to change your strategy when the environment demands it. Think of the story of Blockbuster. For years they dominated the home entertainment market. They had a proven model, a vast network of stores, and a steady stream of revenue, but they failed to innovate. When Netflix proposed a new, more convenient model, mailing DVDs, Blockbuster saw it as a minor threat. They were too slow to adapt. Now Netflix is a media giant, and Blockbuster is a relic of the past. The same principle applies to your own financial life. So how do you cultivate this mindset of continuous innovation and adaptation? Respect tradition, but don't be ruled by it. The great investor Benjamin Graham's principles of value investing are timeless, but the tools and information available to a modern investor are vastly different from what Graham had. You must use the wisdom of the past as your foundation, but be willing to incorporate modern tools and methods to gain an edge. It's a symbiosis where new techniques and creative problem-solving merge with time-honored wisdom. Turn challenges into stepping stones. A person who adapts doesn't just react to change, they anticipate it. This requires a commitment to ongoing learning and an openness to feedback. When a challenge arises, see it not as a roadblock but as a prompt to recalibrate your approach. Each adjustment made in response to emerging trends is a testament to an adaptive mind, one that turns challenges into stepping stones for advancement. Embrace calculated risk. Every new idea carries an element of uncertainty. The innovative mind doesn't view risk as a deterrent, but as an inherent component of growth. By integrating risk assessment with creative exploration, you open the door to ventures that, while untested, possess the potential for significant reward. This calculated embrace of risk, when combined with the disciplined principles of financial management, transforms potential pitfalls into avenues for breakthrough success. Harness social synergy. In today's interconnected world, collaborative endeavors and the exchange of ideas often serve as catalysts for inventive strategies. Engaging with a diverse network of thinkers and practitioners not only broadens your perspective, but also creates a fertile ground for the cross-pollination of ideas. As Jack Ma said, "The world is so big, and you can only do what you can do. You don't have to have all the answers." The collective intelligence of a network can amplify your capacity for adaptation and the generation of novel solutions. Innovation is not a solitary pursuit. It's a collective endeavor that demands both introspection and outward engagement. It's an ongoing journey of refining your methods, learning from each experience, and integrating fresh insights gleaned from a rapidly evolving environment into your overall strategy for wealth. So I want you to ask yourself, what is one outdated method or belief you're holding on to in your financial life? And what is one new idea or tool you can explore this week to embrace innovation? Chapter 17. The Strength of Strategic Alliances. In the journey to financial success, many people believe it's a solo mission, a test of individual strength and will. But this is a profound misconception. True, enduring wealth is rarely built in isolation. It's a collective endeavor, a symphony of collaboration. This brings us to our 17th universal law, the strength of strategic alliances. Strategic alliances form the backbone of a well-rounded approach to financial prosperity. They are not a sign of weakness, but a source of amplified strength. By forging alliances with those whose visions align with your own, you unlock synergies that propel your endeavors to greater heights. These alliances act as channels through which knowledge flows freely and opportunities multiply, ensuring that your reach is far greater than it would be in solitude. Think of it like building a house. A single person could build it brick by brick, but it would take a lifetime. A team of skilled architects, carpenters and plumbers can build it in a fraction of the time, with far more precision. In the world of finance, strategic alliances work in much the same way. They allow you to leverage collective strengths, overcome individual limitations, and approach the marketplace with a comprehensive array of tools and insights. So how do you build these alliances? Seek alignment, not just opportunity. The formation of these alliances requires discernment and a commitment to shared values. It is essential to seek out partners who not only possess complementary skills, but also exhibit the same unwavering dedication to intelligent effort and ethical conduct. When both parties approach the relationship as a partnership of equals, each contributing unique strengths, the alliance becomes a powerful engine for growth. Cultivate a mindset of openness. True collaboration arises from the transparent exchange of ideas and the joint pursuit of common goals. It is through regular interaction and constructive feedback that alliances are nurtured. This requires a deliberate effort to step beyond the boundaries of individual ambition and to invest in relationships that enrich the collective pool of resources. Harness the power of collective intelligence. The network you build becomes a living laboratory for innovation. In the interplay of diverse perspectives, new strategies emerge that might have remained dormant in isolation. This collaborative spirit not only sparks inventive solutions, but also accelerates the pace at which you can pivot and adapt to the ever-changing demands of the financial landscape. As John D. Rockefeller understood, "I would rather earn 1% off of 100 people's efforts than 100% of my own efforts." Pool resources for ambitious ventures. There is wisdom in the adage that many hands make light work. When multiple parties unite their financial, intellectual, and emotional capital, even the most ambitious projects become attainable. By joining forces, you not only share the burdens of risk, but also enhance the potential returns of your combined efforts. The strength of strategic alliances lies in their ability to transform individual aspirations into a collective force. They serve as both a shield and a spear, protecting you against the isolation of singular effort while driving forward a unified vision of prosperity. So I want you to ask yourself, who in your network possesses a skill or vision that complements your own? And what is one relationship you can invest in this week to build a stronger strategic alliance? Chapter 18. The Discipline of Self-Mastery. Think about a skilled athlete, an artist, or a master chef. Their every movement is deliberate, a result of thousands of hours of practice and unwavering discipline. They don't rely on luck or fleeting motivation. They rely on self-mastery. This brings us to our 18th universal law, the discipline of self-mastery. Self-mastery is the silent architect of all enduring success. It is the unwavering discipline that ensures every thought, action, and emotion is honed in service of a greater purpose. In the pursuit of wealth, self-mastery means taking command of your mind and body so that your inner drive is never squandered by distractions or fleeting impulses. This discipline is not a rigid imposition, but a dynamic process of continual self-cultivation and adjustment. It is a conscious effort to align your daily habits with your highest financial aspirations. So how do you cultivate this profound discipline? Transforming potential into action. Self-mastery involves the ongoing challenge of transforming raw potential into refined action. It is the process of establishing routines that reinforce your commitment to growth. It's about setting aside moments each day to reflect on your progress and rigorously eliminating habits that dilute your focus. When you exercise self-discipline, you are not merely controlling impulses. You are actively shaping your destiny, brick by brick, action by action. Honesty and accountability. This discipline requires an intimate understanding of the self. Often the seeds of success are undermined by procrastination, self-doubt, or an overindulgence in temporary comforts. Self-mastery calls for a stark honesty with oneself, to acknowledge these weaknesses, and to work tirelessly to transform them into stepping stones rather than stumbling blocks. It is the personal responsibility you take for every decision and every outcome. It means not blaming external circumstances for setbacks, but analyzing what could be improved in your own approach. Focus amidst distraction. In a world that constantly competes for your attention, cultivating a disciplined mindset is akin to creating a sanctuary within yourself. This is a place where your priorities remain unshaken by the external clamor. This inner sanctuary is nurtured through practices that calm the mind, such as reflection, journaling, or a deliberate pause for thoughtful planning. By fostering such practices, you ensure that your mind remains clear, receptive, and directed toward meaningful goals. Investing in resilience. Every decision in the realm of wealth creation is a test of self-discipline. The daily act of budgeting, the careful evaluation of investment opportunities, and the rigorous pursuit of knowledge are all reflections of a disciplined mind. By committing to continuous self-improvement, you build a reservoir of mental strength that fuels persistent progress. This reservoir is replenished not only by victories, but also by the hard-won lessons gleaned from setbacks. This process of self-regulation builds resilience, a quality that transforms challenges into catalysts for growth. As you build the discipline of self-mastery, you create an internal framework that supports every subsequent effort in your financial journey. It is the unseen force that underpins the law of attraction, the strength of intelligent action, and the power of reinvestment. Each moment dedicated to self-discipline is an investment in your future, ensuring that your energies are focused, your decisions are deliberate, and your actions consistently lead you closer to the realization of your deepest ambition. So I want you to ask yourself, what is one habit that you know is holding you back? And what is one small act of self-discipline you can commit to today to begin building the foundation of your financial destiny? Chapter 19. The Pursuit of Knowledge as the Cornerstone of Wealth. You have the inner fortitude, the disciplined will, the strategic mindset, and the network to build a financial empire. But there is one final, unyielding force that underpins all of these principles. It is not an action, but a continuous state of being. This brings us to our 19th and final universal law, the pursuit of knowledge as the cornerstone of wealth. Knowledge is the quiet force that continuously transforms potential into tangible success. In the intricate dance of financial achievement, learning is not a mere accessory, it is the driving energy that refines every action and shapes every decision. As you tread the pathway toward wealth, the constant pursuit of knowledge becomes your most reliable companion, sharpening your insights and illuminating the hidden corridors of opportunity. Think of the mind as a vast reservoir, one that expands with every new lesson learned and every experience embraced. Just as water nourishes the land, knowledge nurtures your ability to see the subtle dynamics of the financial world. It empowers you to decode market signals, to recognize emerging trends, and to harness the underlying principles that govern success. Every piece of information, every fresh insight contributes to a growing arsenal of strategies that fortify your endeavors. So, how do you practice this final law? Embrace lifelong learning. Education is not confined to formal institutions or traditional texts. It flourishes in every interaction, every observation, and every challenge encountered along your journey. The seasoned entrepreneur who refines their methods through experience, the innovative mind that adapts to shifting paradigms, and the determined individual who reads voraciously are all united by a common thread, a commitment to lifelong learning. It is through continuous study and deliberate reflection that you convert fleeting ideas into powerful tools for wealth creation. Cultivate humility and courage. This process demands both humility and courage. Humility, for it requires the recognition that no matter how much you have achieved, there is always more to learn. Courage, because it propels you to venture into unfamiliar territories of thought and practice. By embracing the unknown, you discover that each new challenge is a lesson in disguise, a chance to refine your understanding of the laws that govern success. Be receptive to the wisdom of others. Investing in knowledge also means being receptive to the wisdom of mentors, peers, and even competitors. They provide a wellspring of insights that, when properly integrated into your own thinking, can accelerate your growth. By engaging in dialogue and exchanging ideas, you not only expand your intellectual horizon, but also test and enhance your theories of success. This collaborative spirit enriches your perspective and transforms solitary learning into a dynamic process of collective advancement. Practice self-discipline. The pursuit of knowledge is also an exercise in self-discipline. It requires setting aside time each day for study and reflection. By cultivating habits that prioritize learning over idle distraction, you begin to notice how each moment of study fortifies your mental resilience and sharpens your decision-making. In the quiet moments of reflection, the lessons of the day coalesce into a clearer vision of your goals, and the path toward wealth becomes not just a possibility, but an ever-unfolding reality. As you immerse yourself in this journey of continuous learning, remember that every insight, every lesson, and every experience adds to the reservoir of your potential. The evolving nature of knowledge ensures that there is always room for growth, a perpetual invitation to push the boundaries of what you can achieve, and to redefine the very essence of financial success. In summary, the journey toward financial success is a holistic blend of inner awakening and intelligent, deliberate action. By cultivating your inner forces, harnessing the laws of reciprocity and attraction, and consistently investing in self-improvement, you lay a robust foundation for enduring wealth. Each principle, from setting a clear purpose and nurturing self-mastery to embracing innovation and forging strategic alliances, works in concert to transform vision into reality. Let this guide serve as both a roadmap and a reminder that true prosperity flows from within, driven by discipline, persistence, and a commitment to continual growth.